All right, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're digging into a really fascinating source text called The Unity of Blackwood Mansion. Now, on the surface, sure, it reads like an incredibly entertaining story about a high-stakes treasure hunt. But as we break the narrative down, you're going to see that it's actually a masterclass in collaboration, leveraging diverse skills, and building trust when the pressure is absolutely through the roof. Picture this, it's a freezing, windy night, and this simple, wildly alluring message ends up in the hands of everyday people. A life-changing reward. It promises immense wealth to anyone brave enough to show up. It is literally the perfect catalyst to pull completely different individuals out of their normal, everyday routines and drop them right into an incredibly bizarre, extraordinary situation. Talk about high stakes, right? It's kind of like the ultimate mandatory corporate team-building escape room, except instead of a $20 gift card at the end, it's a literal fortune with actual life-or-death stakes on the line. They only have 1 hour. The clock is relentlessly ticking down. And remember, they're complete strangers. That means zero pre-existing trust, no established communication styles, and absolutely no guarantee they're even going to get along. The only thing uniting them is this frantic pursuit of one massive fortune. Keep this number in the back of your mind, 6. Exactly 6 strangers brought together for a singular purpose. As we're going to see, this isn't just some random head count. The number 6 actually gets woven into the very architecture of the mansion's challenges. If even one of these people was missing, the whole structure of their success would completely fall apart. So, who actually shows up? We've got a really interesting, diverse dynamic here. 5 men and 1 brilliant female historian. We also find out pretty early on that Daniel brings a highly specific background as an experienced chess player. And it's exactly this diverse mix of backgrounds and hidden specialties that the mansion is about to put to the ultimate test. Part 1. The setup. The mysterious invitation. Boom. The clock strikes 8 and those heavy wooden doors slam shut. They are officially locked in. The game is on. And this creepy, disembodied voice echoes through the halls, laying out the core conflict of the whole story. They are chasing millions of dollars. Usually that inspires pure greed and backstabbing, right? But the mansion's designer makes it crystal clear. Absolute teamwork is required to survive. It's a total paradox. You want the treasure for yourself, but there is literally no way to get it alone. Then, the lights flicker, and the trial is officially underway. Moving into Part 2, the trials of intellect, the puzzles of Blackwood. So the mansion doesn't just throw everything at them at once. There's a very specific progression to the hurdles they face, requiring completely different skill sets. It kicks off with the first 2 steps, which are deeply intellectual puzzles. We're talking logic, historical knowledge, and analytical thinking. But then, things abruptly shift gears at step 3 to something way more visceral and dangerous. Let's see how they handle this sequence. Right off the bat, in the first room, they hit a wall. Literally, they're confronted with 6 keys hanging there. Notice that magic number popping up again? Each key has a mysterious symbol on it. It's a classic bottleneck scenario. If they can't decode these symbols to open the right doors, game over. They need specialized knowledge, and they need it fast. Thank goodness for Sophia, right? She immediately taps into her history background, examining the keys and realizing they aren't just random spooky shapes. They actually represent the 6 elements from an ancient civilization. Following her confident lead, everyone grabs the correct key for their matching door. This proves instantly that having a real diversity of knowledge within a team is the crucial first step to getting unstuck. But you know, the mansion isn't going to just test the exact same thing twice. Next room, a massive chessboard with missing pieces. Sophia's historical expertise isn't going to help them out of this one. This demands a totally different type of brain power: spatial awareness, strategy, and foresight. And this is where Daniel totally shines. The guy's a seasoned chess player, so he takes one look at the board state and just gets it. He spots the correct arrangement for the missing pieces, confidently locks in the final move within minutes, and boom, a hidden passage opens up. The group realizes a pretty profound truth here. Individual specialties aren't just nice to have, they are strictly necessary for the group to keep moving forward. You never know whose unique skill is going to save the day. Part 3. The trapdoor of trust, navigating emotional stakes. Okay, so the team is probably feeling pretty good about themselves right now, riding that intellectual high. But then the vibe completely flips. They walk into a third, much darker room. The brain teasers are gone, suddenly replaced by immediate, terrifying physical danger. Out of nowhere, Ethan falls straight through a hidden trapdoor in the dark. Gone. It causes absolute panic among the remaining 5. It's a massive shock to the system that tests how this team holds together under extreme stress. Because let's be real, it's one thing to solve a riddle together. It is a whole different ballgame when your teammate's life is suddenly on the line. Luckily, they hear him yell out from the darkness below. And Adam and Bilal? They don't even hesitate. They drop any thought of the treasure and focus 100% on their teammate. They scramble to find nearby ropes, work in sync, and carefully haul Ethan back up to safety. This is such a great example of the real-world necessity of psychological safety, rapid crisis response, and literally having each other's backs when the floor drops out from under you. Once Ethan is safe, that booming disembodied voice comes back with a serious truth bomb. Trust is stronger than fear. This perfectly bridges the gap between just logically solving puzzles and actually relying on genuine human connection. The mansion was testing their humanity just as much as their brains. Honestly, if they had abandoned Ethan out of fear or greed, they would have instantly failed the whole thing. Part 4. The ultimate treasure. The final chamber. They've survived the physical and emotional crucible, but they are almost completely out of time. Just 15 minutes left on the clock as they breach the final chamber. And there it is, a large stone chest resting beneath a heavy glass dome. The millions they were promised are right there. But, predictably, there's one last overarching riddle on the wall to test everything they've learned. The greatest treasure is unlocked not by strength, but by unity. This is absolutely crucial to understand. Raw individual strength, selfishness, huge egos, completely useless against this final lock. You can't just smash the glass. You can't brute force the chest open alone. The mechanism requires something else entirely. Carlos starts scaling the room, and what does he see? Exactly 6 handprints on the wall. There's that magic number again. The mansion's final mechanism demands that every single person, all 6 of them, acts at the exact same moment. Without a second thought, they all place their hands on the prints. The room shakes, the glass dome lifts, and their collective action unlocks the prize. So they pop the chest open, and yeah, there's gold and jewels, but Sophia also finds this letter. And it lays out a pretty wild comparison in history. Past adventurers came into this mansion blinded by greed, and they failed because they eventually betrayed each other. But our 6 protagonists? They succeeded for one simple reason. They dropped their egos, trusted one another, and acted in total, undeniable unity. The house speaks one last time, declaring them all equal winners of the fortune. The heavy doors swing open, letting them out into the sunrise. And the narrative makes this beautiful point. Sure, they're financially rich now, but they're walking away as lifelong friends. They finally get that the ability to form a high-functioning, trusting team is infinitely more valuable than a pile of gold. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to think about this in your own life. Look at your own projects, your teams, your daily grind. Are you constantly trying to just force your way through obstacles with brute individual strength? Or are you actively utilizing the diverse skills and unity of the people around you? Remember the lesson of Blackwood Mansion. True success requires everyone's hand on the wall. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep learning.